And we're on. Good morning, Unity.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody in the sanctuary, and good morning to everybody out in live streaming land. And I just got a text from my niece in Pennsylvania, Jessica, who you know is one of the loves of my life. And hi, Jessica. She's streaming in today from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Jessica.
So we're hoping, she's trying to figure out how to get here to visit us before she goes back to Tel Aviv. So we're working on that and see how that will go. So if you haven't already, please turn off your cell phones and no texting during service, because then it makes me think you're not paying attention, and oh my God, you know, I'll take that so personally. So let's not text during service. So our opening song today, let's stand up and sing Thank You, Spirit by Wade Moore. Josh, bring in the choir.
I want to thank you, Spirit, for everything you do.
Smile.
I want to thank you, Spirit, for making dreams come true. You turn the dark and stormy skies to skies of brightest blue. I want to thank you, Spirit, for everything you do. I want to thank you, Spirit, for taking care of me. I want to thank you, Spirit, for teaching me to see. They say the world is beautiful, and now I must agree. I want to thank you, Spirit, for taking care of me. I know in my heart that the perfect time now to lose all my fears, and that Spirit always show me how. I want to thank you, Spirit, for showing me the way. I want to thank you, Spirit, for turning night to day. Another place of joyfulness, and I intend to stay. I want to thank you, Spirit, for showing me the way. I want to thank you, Spirit, for helping me to feel. I want to thank you, Spirit, for showing me what's real. Such happiness to me the way I feel. I want to thank you, Spirit, for helping me to heal. I felt in the past that my every chance is gone. But Spirit is hope, and I know for sure that I was wrong. You were wrong, sing the song. I want to thank you, Spirit, for everything you do. I want to thank you, Spirit, for making dreams come true. You turn the dark and stormy skies of brightest blue. I want to thank you, Spirit. I want to thank you, Spirit. I want to thank you, Spirit, for everything you do.
Thank you. Wonderful. That was a feel good, right? That was a feel good song. Yeah, for sure. So in our Unity Spiritual Center, we have a beautiful vision and likewise mission. And if you would read that with me, a spiritual community of love, peace, and acceptance, creating an inclusive spiritual community through fellowship, service, and community outreach. Thank you. And I'd like to ask David Polly if he would join me right now for reading the daily word, lighting the Christ candle, and doing the flames of faith with me.
Thank you, Reverend Aubrielle. The word for today is joy.
Grace.
Oops, other side. The word for today is grace. I discover grace in every moment of connection. Teachings about grace are found in many of the world's religions. Though details may differ, all agree that grace is an aspect of the divine that exists inside each one of us. Grace helps us weather life's storms, find light in the darkness, and keep faith strong when the evidence for it is hard to discern. The grace of God that lives within us shows itself in small ways every day. Whenever we experience something that causes us to pause, even for a second, and become aware of our connectedness. Grace is a gift that lives in me that I give freely and with joy. I might send a greeting to a faraway friend or offer a helping hand to someone in need. Grace is a beautiful way of sharing the love and care of God. And from Hebrews, pursue peace with everyone and the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. That's the reading of the daily word. Now the lighting of the Christ candle. So who in the room is a Christ candle? Wow, everybody's a Christ candle. And as a Christ candle, what do? You shine your light. And what does that mean?
Loving our neighbors.
It means to be who you authentically really are, which is a loving, compassionate, peaceful spirit. And that's really what we want to do every day. That makes each of us a Christ candle.
And as we begin to light our flames of faith, we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of light, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. As David lights the first candle, we light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony, equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as a path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God. We light a candle for the universal religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, such as unity, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And we light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and the presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them at this center, and for all religions unnamed in this ceremony. Thank you, David.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom,
please join us for meditation? Thank you.
Good morning, friends.
Morning.
Morning.
Shall we prepare to go into meditation together? We begin by breathing slowly, deeply, and purposefully. Breathing in life, love, healing energy, and exhaling all that which no longer serves us. Fear, anger, negativity. As we breathe deeply, I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable to avoid the distractions of the outer. And with each breath, move your consciousness closer to your center. Closer to that place where the divine light shines. Closer to that place we all have within us and which unites us in spirit. The Christ light, our connection with the divine and with the universe. It is in this connection that we are able to experience that which we call divine grace, which is limitless. Divine love, which knows no bounds. Wholeness, peace of mind. I invite you to go even deeper now and to experience this connection in the silence. In the silence. As we breathe,
Each other for 5 minutes, and I said, what is it today that I need to know? And the only thing that kept going through my mind was, just be still. Just be still. So when like Martin said, you're just 3 breaths away from that connectedness and that peacefulness. And I think when you said that, it reminded me of the little bird and just 3 breaths away. So it's not a difficult thing to do. Just step back and think of the little bird. So that's the report from the river today. So living in grace. Did you know this? This is a fact. Did you know that the grace of God is bigger than the compassion of forgiveness? The compassion of the forgiveness is a big thing, right? But the grace of God is even bigger. So Ramakrishna, a Hindu religious teacher, says, the winds of God's grace are always blowing. It is for us to raise our sails. So what does that mean? It means that all we have to do is put up our sails and let the sea of life carry us across the sea to the other shore. But sometimes you are torn and tattered with all that you're carrying around with you. So it's up to you, it's up to me, each one of us, to get in our boat and make our life seaworthy. So is your life seaworthy? Can you go out and be tossed around by the sea and the winds and the rains and yet be okay? So this all sounds metaphysically correct and very symbolic, right? But I say again, what does it mean? The winds of God's grace are always blowing. It is up to us to raise our sails. What does that mean? It means that we must raise our consciousness and be open with spiritual eyes. Like my spiritual eyes were watching the little bird. There was that connectedness. I was no other place but one with the bird. So we have to open our spiritual eyes, and our spiritual ears have to hear and be receptive to the grace of God and the guidance and the gifts that are being given to us. So when life throws us a left curve, have any of you had life throw you a left curve at all? A little chuckling out there. Yeah. So when life throws you a left curve, as it will, that is when we step into our higher self, our Christ consciousness, and we go to that center and go to first cause. So when you're saying, how do I get in the moment? A step back, center, first cause, God, Lord, heaven, earth, whatever words, love, wisdom. So when you hear the term, the grace of God, what goes through your mind? Anybody? What goes through your mind? No?
Love.
Love. The grace of God, it sure is love. But if you're thinking of a ballerina, then you need to go a little bit deeper. Because it's definitely not Tina the ballerina. The grace of God is love. It's the purest gift that Spirit can give to you. Grace comes from the Latin word gratia, meaning favor, charm, thanks. Grace is seen as a creative force, as an act of exceptional kindness and goodness. Exceptional. So in Christianity, grace is defined as infinite love, mercy, favor, and goodwill shown to us by God. But here's the important thing to remember. Grace is not something that's given to you or withheld from you. Grace is a state of being. It's a state of being which comes into active expression the moment our consciousness has been purified. And now you're going, oh my God, how do I do that? Consciousness purified. Consciousness purified is nothing more than being in the present moment. That's consciousness purified in the stillness. Back to the interconnectedness of my little feathery friend. So divine grace then is forever present in our consciousness, but it cannot operate unless we're still and know. And more importantly, it cannot express or manifest in the presence of hate or fear. There's no place. There's no place for God to Spirit to go when we're consumed with hate and fear. To be in grace is to be in acceptance of its very existence rather. So it's the same with the law of gravity. It works only when an object is dropped. Is that correct? Okay, so the law of gravity is always present and in operational use, but nothing happens unless the object is dropped. And it's the same with the grace of God. The Holy Spirit, as you've heard me say so many times, the Holy Spirit is God in action. Is always present, but nothing happens until we're still and awakened. We have to wake up. And it comes in little clumps and little pieces. It's not, and it could be this booming day and like, oh my God, I'm awake. And then you're the next guru. But other than that, it takes us time and it takes us perseverance and discipline. But most of all, it takes a wanting to be in that place of stillness and peace and comfort. So grace is an old age concept and found in all religions. It's usually defined as a sort of a profound blessing or perhaps an unexpected divine gift in one's life. Now, think about old paintings. They show the circle of light around the heads of saints, and you think, well, that's a holy one, and they're in a state of grace, right? When you look at pictures like that. Or perhaps you've seen portrayals of streaming light coming down from the heavens, right? And it's showering the sainted one with blessing of grace. Now, here's a surprise for you. I am certainly not a saint.
No.
What? Sorry. But I am certainly not a saint, and I, as all of you, though, we're all on the same road to that holiness. We're on the road to Damascus, and you know, you think about, so, you know, my name used to be Darlene, and then it's Aubrey Lynn, and now my name is changing again to Auriel. So it seems like I'm on this road to Damascus. Thank you, David, for that beautiful name. I love it. And, but we're all on this road together, and we go together on that road, and we're all in different places on that road, but it's a great road. But in this new thought teaching, we do not look for halos or clouds parting in order to know the essential divine nature of every human being, because we already know. We already know that we are each individual manifestations of the one God, and we are living one life. From this perspective, then, our natural state is to live the divine life happily, joyfully, and at one with our world. At one with our world. How do I get to that present moment? 3 breaths away, step back, breathe in. Go to center. Be at peace. Be still. That's how. If we re-examine the concept of grace, we can see that there is a definition for today's understanding. So some sensitive people can describe the physical experience of grace as something that can be felt in subtle terms, like a sense of lightness, sweetness, fullness, a blessing. So was it the grace of God for my Saturday morning to center in and see on a wooden peak a bird maybe this big, the same color of the wooden peak? Was it the grace of God to be able to even see that? For me, personally, I say yes, it was. Most people experience the grace from witnessing it at work in their lives. So when you're able to surrender to your own needs, to do, to control, to manage, to fix, when you can give that up, when you can step back from it and say, I don't have to control my life in the next hour. I don't have to control my life in this day. I am just going to go with this day and see where it brings me. When you can do that, then you can feel the lightness And as you become more open, you can begin to center yourself in your own inner nature. We have this beautiful gift inside us. Let's go there and observe life as it's taking place. How many of you have ever felt like that you were standing back and you were watching your life do its thing out here, right? So when you can stand back and look at life, no judgment, just looking and like, whoa, wow, look at that. Look at that. That's pretty extraordinary. My life is pretty extraordinary. I am pretty extraordinary. I work so hard about saying things like that because I grew up with, you can't be conceited and you can't say good things about. How many of you grew up where you don't say, yeah, right, I see your hands raising. My mother always said self-praise stinks, but my grandmother said it's better than no praise. So there's always hope. There's always hope. So when you can give up then your attachment to how things may turn out and simply witness the process and see patterns, it's amazing. It is so amazing. Surrendering more deeply and more deeply, you can begin to see the cause is the effect. The cause is the effect. So what are you allowing to be in your life? What is the cause of discomfort? What is the cause of uncertainty? Because whatever that cause is, that's your life, the effect. So we always go back to cause. And if we're going back to cause, then we go back to first cause. Make sense? Yeah. With me? Perfect. So Joel Goldsmith likes to write about the importance of being a transparency for God. Think about that, a transparency for God. This is a beautiful idea, and it shows the way to live in grace. So in this idea, you do not give up your individual power or your highest intentions. Rather, you align your entire being consciously by the choice with the very highest fineness, goodness of God. And you invite it to flow through your mind and your bodies as you live and your relationship and everything that you do. Just allow it to come in. So let's try an exercise. If you can, take everything off your lap. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes and center yourself. Center yourself. Take a deep breath in. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Let it out slowly. And relax. So you're going to use your gift of imagination. So imagine your skin becoming completely transparent so that all your muscles and tendons show through. Now imagine that all your muscles become transparent so that your organs and bones show through. Now all of your bones and organs become transparent, revealing all your blood vessels and nerves. Now even your blood vessels and nerves become transparent until you are completely transparent, a clear shell of a human. Now bring your attention to God, the great undifferentiated spirit, and invite it to flow through your transparent being into this world. Relax. And let this flow of God pour through every inch of you into the world, as if you are a clear window, a conduit of the divine. And as this essence pours through your being, set your intention in love, knowing that this too is grace, pouring through you into your whole of life. And very slowly and very gently, and when you're ready, come back to this environment. So this simple exercise brings you to living in grace. When you can raise your consciousness, when you can go to that higher place within, then we're not in this spacesuit called a body, but we're in the flow of love, which is the grace of God. So you're surrendering to the process then of being one with the source of life. Surrendering to this blessing, this gift that you get. And then more deeply you take thought for anything else, because the flow is the blessing. When you feel that, you see, how do I get in the present moment? Feel it. When you allow that flow to come through, when you can go to a higher consciousness, to your higher self, to an elevated place, when you're not aware of bones and muscles and aches and pains, when you can rise above all that is when you're in the flow. Only the desire to just be is when you live in the wholeness of spirit. So to live in grace, you must learn to stop sometimes for a day or two. Just stop and say, let me not trust my mind. Let me relax in God. Let me not trust my mind. Let me just relax in God. Invite God into your soul. Relax the soul. Relax your being. Relax who you are. Without words, without thoughts. Here's what you need to know. God is not in the whirlwind. We create the whirlwind of our life. I was talking to Renee yesterday and about listening skills and somewhat, and she said, oh, you're a good listener. The trouble with you is your mind is going a mile an hour and you're already 3 paces past where you were before, so you never know what you're talking about. I said, okay, well, that's a good friend. Thank you for that. But I knew what she meant. And what she's saying to me is God is not in the whirlwind. Slow down, step back, enjoy the moment. You know, and it's so great when you have a friend like Renee who will sit and have that kind of a conversation with you. It's great, and I love her to death. And so God is not in your problems either. God is not in your problems. Who's creating them? We are, absolutely. We are. Because we have choice. Is it a problem or is it a situation? Is it a problem or a situation? It is something that I being us, can we handle by a phone call? Can we handle by a simple conversation? Or are we going to let things fester and fester and fester and become a drama? God is not in the whirlwind. God is not in your problems. God is not in your thinking. You think God is in your mind saying that, you know, you're overweight, you're underweight, you're sloppy, your house needs to be cleaned, your closets need to be cleaned out, the car is dirty, I need to mow the lawn? You think those are God's conversations? No, God is not in our thinking. God is in the still, small voice. And that voice is not per se a word, or it could be. but the voice is that feeling when you know you are taking the right step forward. In order to hear that voice and receive its importance and its grace, you must live a little more quietly and a little more peacefully. There must come a rest. It must come a rest. One of the things on our Great Lakes region a couple of months ago, we meet monthly, and we're talking about ministers do not get enough rest. Ministers do not allow themselves enough rest. And, you know, as people who work within the center or people on the board, some people think ministers just work on Sunday. It's kind of funny. But, yeah, we don't allow ourselves rest. Rest, it is not an activity of our mind. It's the soul revealing. This period of rest is the fruitage of abiding by these principles. We need rest. And if that means a day at home, watching Hallmark movies on your couch, so be it. So be it. Or if you're somebody who likes to bake, if it's a day just being by yourself, baking in your kitchen with pretty music on. Whatever rest is for you, but not demand baking and not demanding, I must rest today. Okay, I'm going to rest today. That's not rest. That's not rest. So our ultimate goal then must be to live in God, through God, as God. What? God in me, as me, is me. Say that with me. God in me, as me, is me. Right. There's always a sufficiency of God's grace present. Always, always. Therefore, you have to be still to receive it. That's all. We have to shake free from the world sometime and rest. And the more that you can surrender to that, the more spirit can function as the individual mind of the body to rest in spirit. Your soul is crying. It is asking for your attention. You know, all of that uncomfortableness, that divine urge that you don't want to listen to, that heaviness, that is your soul crying, wake up. You are sleeping. Wake up. Living by grace allows spirit to express its fullness in a pure state of being. This grateful approach lets the warmth color of love's God's grace in. I am sure each one of you here have had more than one moment of grace where you knew, but for the grace of God go I. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. Yes, right. Living by grace is a way of being. You'll find yourself living in a new dimension that is fulfilling. So what I want to say is I want you to think this week, watch this week, listen this week, and see when you're in that place, when that blessing. It doesn't matter who you are, good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. The grace of God is a gift that is given. You don't have to earn it. You don't even have to deserve it in your mind. It is a gift. It's the beauty of life itself. So I found this little poem. It's so funny. Talk about forgetting things. So all morning I was going, where is the poem I wanted to bring today? Going all over my desk looking for this poem that I wanted to bring today. And it wasn't here and it wasn't there. And I said, oh, well, so. And then I already wrote it right here. So it says, oh, day that greets me like a winding country road, offering sights unseen and gifts unopened. I stand before you, watching and listening. What mysteries loom in the hours ahead? What secret whispers? What promises await? You beacon that can rather you invite, you entice. No more delay. I welcome your call and enter your day. We live moment to moment. by the grace of God. So ends this lesson, and so begins a very precious new moment. And so it is. And our song of the day.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It was there.
Yeah, well, you know how it gets up here.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not only me, it's Josh too, huh? What's going on back there, Josh?
There it is.
One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, give thanks, praise the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, give thanks and praise the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
Yes, yes indeed. Let us do that for sure. Okay, and if you would, do our offertory prayer with me. And the love of God inspires me to give in a spirit of generosity. I give with love and joy to ensure the growth of this ministry and this community center. And so it is. Thank you, God. And as always, thank you for all of the contributions that come into our center. No matter which way they arrive, we are grateful for them. And those are the things that keep our doors open and make us a viable asset for our community as well. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. And our announcements. Volunteers needed your help. Ushers, greeters, platform person, Sunday coffee and treats set up and cleanup. So hospitality is up to our board member, Carrie Smith. So if you were a volunteer before on any of those committees, coffee treats and whatever, please see her and or Jules. And also we only are working at the moment with 2 platform people. If somebody else would like to be a part of the platform team, please see me or Jules. And starting in May, we're going to start putting the, what do you call that thing?
Schedule.
Thank you. The schedule out with all of those things listed on it. Martin is back as prayer chaplain. Annie is back as prayer chaplain. So you can see, yes.
I will email each of you that are on that schedule. I will email the schedule to you so you have it, and then it'll be on the back of the calendars as well.
Okay. So that's being all coordinated now, and I hope that you're as excited as I am that we're starting to move back together in the oneness of all. Today was the first day we did pray-in. All of a sudden I got like, oh, we have to do pray-in, oh my God. So, it's really lovely. So volunteers need to be here at 10:15 for pray-in, and that's all about that. Again, support us on Amazon Smile. If you sign up for Amazon Smile, 5% of your order automatically is donated to the Unity Spiritual Center. I must do that immediately because me and Amazon have an ongoing relationship.
So do I.
So, yeah. So we have a new bulletin board. in the front as you come in. Announcements of community events and employment announcements will be placed on this board. It's located at the bottom of the stairs. If you would like to put something on, please do not do so, but give it to Jules, because we don't want it to be this thing where everything is stuck and nobody can read it. So she will monitor that. So if you would do that. And then you wanted me to tell them
anything that is community, like outside these walls, like any announcements or bulletins from the Sheboygan Center for Faith. I will add 2 extra copies, so if you want to take the information so you have it, you can just pull a copy off, and I can always make more. But I figured if you need the information, not all of us think to bring a pen or they run around looking for a pen and paper. I've just put the information copies right there. All you gotta do is grab it.
And does she think of everything or what? Yeah, she does. Thank you. Save this date. Oh, yeah, there's so much stuff. When can I start bringing it in, Diana? Oh, we're not on that one yet. Okay, I'll skip down. Save this date. Oh, hidden treasure. Here, we are there. So the rummage sale on June 26th. Put it on your calendar, please. No electronics, okay, or tires. All right. All right. No electronics.
The reason being is if they end up sitting here, we have to pay to have it taken away.
Okay, thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Also, Pet Blessing, September 11th. Why are we giving you this information so early? 2 reasons: to put it on your calendar, number 1. Number 2, to get you on a committee to help with it. And 3, I don't want anyone to say, well, I didn't know about that. So June 26th is Hidden Treasure Fundraiser with Diane Pauley and Pet Blessings, working with Susan Kilton and Dave Pauley. Men's Fellowship meets second Sunday of every month, and Circle of Friends begins May 15th at 9:30, and we will meet every third Saturday of the month, and I believe that is it. Does anybody have anything they need to share, a question, a comment? Yes?
I was wondering if you start bringing things on the 26th or have it here by the 26th?
Diane, could you answer that?
Start reading June 1st, but not before.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's overflowing, but I'm keeping it in my garage. So as soon as that's over, then I will do a day in my garage and clean out that rest of that stuff. Okay, everybody good? Everybody's good. All right, let's do our closing song now. Please stand. Oh, let's get it. Yeah. Come on.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got you and me, sister, in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. hands, he's got the whole world in his hands.
In our prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us, and wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And as we leave here today, we leave with a feeling of grace, of peace, of understanding, a deeper knowledge of who and what we are, and how we want to go forth in this week, taking this lesson with us to know that there is something so beautiful living, stirring within us, within our soul, within our hearts, within our minds, and it is crying and saying, let me out. Say yes to yourself, say yes to the world, say yes to love, say yes to God. And for this, and for so much more, we are ever grateful, and together we say,
And
so it is. Amen.
It is done.
So I want to thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for all of you that are out in live streaming world. We will see you next week. We love you. Stay well, stay safe, and God bless.